Hello everybody, this is Irina Salazar from Anna's Cake Design, and I'm so happy to be here in this day of sharing, this Capitals Confectioners virtual day of sharing, because sadly we can't be together. But I hope and pray that soon enough we'll be able to share and hug each other and talk and laugh together. So today I'll be demoing something very simple but very useful and versatile. You can make it in anything you like. But today we're gonna be doing this fire flower from Super Mario. It's a cake topper made out of modeling chocolate, and this lettering that are the same letters used on the Super Mario logo. So today we're gonna be learning how to make those two. Thank you for being here, and let's get started. Okay, so we are going to start by doing our fire flower, our topper. This topper is made out of modeling chocolate, front and back. As you can see, it's the same on both sides, so if you put it on a cake you can see it from any angle and still have the beautiful design or the cute design. So basically we have a cardboard core and covered by modeling chocolate. So what we're gonna start doing is cutting our patterns to make, or to cut all the pieces to make our flower. So what I did is I went online and found this perfect image of the fire flower and printed several copies. I think I made 4. You can, it depends on the number of colors you have, and you will see what I mean by that in a bit. This one, for this fire flower, I printed it out in the size that I wanted. That is about 4.5 inches. And okay, so let's start by cutting our flower. So this flower we're gonna make first cut the vase. In our base, it's going to be the dark green and the burgundy. So we're going to start by very carefully. We could do the outer part with scissors, probably is faster. So we're just gonna cut that because there's no risk of cutting anything other than our flower, because for the interior parts, the smaller parts, we're going to be using our X-Acto knife. So very carefully we're gonna go around and cut. Okay, let's try to do this without hurting our image. Well, if you have a quick cut, probably is faster. But I like doing this by hand, and I don't have a quick cut. So if you don't, you can do just like I'm doing right now. Okay, so we're going to go all around our flower, trying to be as close to the edge as possible so we don't lose our shape. Okay, so there we have it. Now, because we have 2 colors, we're gonna cut these right where they meet, very carefully with our X-Acto knife. Just take out this little white here. It's not a big deal, but well, we can remove that. Okay, so we have this part. Now we have our I'm sorry. So we have this flower here, and now what we're going to do is cut every color separately. So we will have like a puzzle that later we're gonna put together. So let's start by cutting the yellow circle first. Well, oval, I should say. Or probably a circle on a diet. I like to move around the paper instead of moving the scalpel. I'm sorry, the X-Acto knife. Because if I go this way, it's more likely that I will mess up. So I prefer to move the image instead of moving my hand too much. So as you can see, I'm almost not, like, I'm barely moving my X-Acto knife, and then I will rotate the image. So this is one of our, let me take this little piece out of here. This is another part of our pattern. See, now I have this part that later I will cut in this same color in modeling chocolate. But instead of cutting all this by hand right now, I already did that. And I save it here in my handy dandy plastic container. So see, I cut the other oval, the orange one and the red one. And I also cut out the leaves and the stem of the flower. But because the leaves are exactly the same, it's like a mirror image, I just cut one. I cut out one. And at the end, I was left with this. See? So you can put it back together. Just like that. So you have all the pieces of the puzzle that we later are gonna be putting back together. And I already cut an eye. What I like to do is when I have this, and if I'm gonna put something on top of this, or on top of an image or something like that, I like to cut not all the way, but just like little cuts around it. So when I cut the piece of modeling chocolate, then I can score this very lightly. And when I remove the paper, I will have the marks where the eyes will go. So that will help us later. Okay, so we have all the patterns. We have this for our base. And our next step, our crafting step, because we're still not working with anything edible. We're not there yet. We're gonna have a graph. This is another flower, right? A complete flower. And I'm going to cut about 1/8 of an inch around the whole flower. Because this particular pattern, it's going to be used to cut our cardboard base. So it has to be smaller than the modeling chocolate pieces. So in the end, we won't see it. Because if we left them the same size, we're gonna be able to see the cardboard, and of course we don't want to do that. we don't want to show our secrets. If it were a smaller piece, like instead of a 4.5 inches, let's say 2 inches or 3, probably 3, I wouldn't be using I could just skip the part of the cardboard. Because the modeling chocolate, if you roll it out thick enough, it will stand by itself. But there's 2 things that you have to consider. The size, if it's too tall, like I said, if it's smaller piece, you could do that. But if it's too tall, it's better to put a cardboard inside. And the other thing is, if it's too hot, it could melt. So that won't be good for you. So one way to assure or secure your topper is to put something that won't be affected by heat or anything like cardboard. Okay, so this, as you can see, here's our original image. This one is a little bit smaller, like I said, like maybe 1/8 of an inch smaller. Okay, so let's grab our cardboard. It's just a cake round. That's what I'm using. It's easier, and the 6-inch. And we're gonna trace our flower. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's gonna be covered, right? By our modeling chocolate later. Oh, well, don't worry if you trace over the flower. Okay. I'm trying not to. Okay, there you have it. Now we're gonna have our, you could use the scissors, but the problem is that then you will have, like, in this part it will be hard to cut, and because it's too thick, I prefer to use my X-Acto knife for this. So I just go around it. And cut all the way. This will make our base, or this will be the structure of our fire flower. Another thing, if you're gonna make, instead of a topper, you're gonna make any type of image or character or something like that, any 2D character, you can use the same technique. And if you don't want to put it on top of the cake, but on the side of the cake, you can do that perfectly. You don't have to. Then you wouldn't have to use the cardboard base because you will have the cake to support your piece. But it will be the same thing, like cutting the patterns and all that. Okay, something that I forgot to say before is that when you cut the patterns, or the beauty of having the patterns is you can save them for later. If you need to make another piece, in this case, another fire flower, you can use those same patterns again and again. And the way to do that, I skipped that part today. The way that you could do that is by covering your image before cutting it with packaging tape, like front and back, and then you will cut all the patterns just like as we did. Exactly the same thing, same process. And then because you have the plastic on top of the paper, it will be easier. Well, you could clean it and save it, and you won't have any problem to use and reuse as many times as you like. So you can put like in a bag, in a Ziploc bag, or in a plastic container with the name of the character you made, and store it for the future, for a future order, so that way you don't have to work twice. Okay, so we're done here with the cardboard base. Let's remove all the specks of cardboard from our working surface. Okay, so here's our base. Actually, it's a little bit, no, it's about the same size, so we're good. Now, we're gonna just keep on like getting our base ready for with our modeling chocolate later. So now we're gonna measure. We have here 2 wooden skewers, right? So I'm gonna first, let's see, we need, like if you hold the flower like this, you see that the points that are touching are these 2 or these 3, right? But what we're gonna do, we're gonna put 2 skewers in these 2 lower parts here, but trying not to go in all the way out, because then you will see the skewer, right? So we're gonna go on the inside. I'm gonna go with the pointy side first, so I can make my hole if necessary, but in this case we're good because we align it. But if you don't, if you cut your flower on like in the perpendicular direction of the grain of the cardboard, then I will just go with a skewer, open my hole, right, and take it out, cut the size that I want, and then put it back in. But in this case, because we have the grooves on our side, I'm just gonna see if it's okay. So we're gonna cut, let's say, I'm gonna have it like this, maybe I'm the halfway of the flower, and about, let's see, maybe 3 inches long, not taller than my cake, right? So let's cut it here. I'm just gonna bend it and cut it and stick it in, and I'm gonna go with the other one. Let's see if I have a, see? But they're kind of crooked, so this one I'm gonna force and try to see. Yeah, it's better if I put it here. Okay, let me take this one out. If you want to, you could put some like hot glue inside or anything like that to help them not move. But in my case, I'm gonna just leave them like that. Okay, so, oops, let's see if this goes in. Yes, there it is. And now the other one goes here. And there we have it. Horizontal. Now we can stick it in our cake, no problem. Okay, we have our vase ready to go. Now we're gonna go in, roll out our modeling chocolate. Okay, so I'm gonna start by rolling out this little piece of orange modeling chocolate for our flower. So as you can see, it was sitting on the bag for a while, so it's hard. So I need to knead it first and warm it up so we can work it better. Usually it's not, if it's not too cold, it's easy to do. Well, try not to work it too much, because then if you get it too hot, then it will start to melt and it will be hard to work with. But I'm gonna let you, right now, I think we're good. Maybe I could knead it a bit more, but don't worry. Let me do it one little bit more so it's easier to roll out. Okay, so let's flatten it. Let's make it flat, a little bit flat, so it's easier to roll out. Let's grab our cornstarch, sprinkle a little. If you get too much, then you just wipe it away. That's it. Oh, this too much. That's fine. Okay. So for all the color pieces on our flower, like the inside part, like the light green, the red, the orange, and the yellow and the black of the eyes, we're gonna roll them out at 1/16 of an inch. And how am I gonna do that? Instead of using the rubber rings that you could use if you don't have the thing that I'm gonna show you right now. You could use the rings, but I really don't like them too much because sometimes when you're like rolling too hard, then you push and then you don't get the exact thickness all the way through. So what I like to use is this balsa wood sticks that you can get on Michael's, Joann's, or anything like that. And actually they come, I think it's, I don't know, 18 inches. And then I cut them in half. No, actually they're 24 inches long. And then I cut them in half and I have 12 inches, and that's the right size for me. So this will help me. These two sticks will guide me to roll out my modeling chocolate to the thickness that I want. One important thing that you must do is move around your modeling chocolate so you make sure it's not sticking to your working surface. But right now it looks fine and it's perfect. Well, we have some specks there, but we can just work around them. So see, I just pass it up and down. That way I'm sure that it's all the same thickness. So you can see it's very, very thin. And probably because it's not too hot right now, I could cut right away. But what I like to do is grab a plastic cutting board, to the ones that you can buy for very little, and they come in like different colors. And so I roll out my modeling chocolate and put it on the cardboard, so that way I can move it around, no problem. And the other thing is that I like for the modeling chocolate to rest for about 15 minutes minimum, so it can harden a little bit, and then when I cut, I won't lose my shapes that easy. So it's better. So that being said, I already rolled out all the pieces that we're going to be using today. So like this, let me show you this here are my orange and yellow that we're going to be using later. Okay, so for the base, or our base colors that are the burgundy and the dark green, these two, I already rolled them out, and I did that to a little bit thicker, or double the thickness. Is 1/8 of an inch thick, this piece. But see, it's a little bit, it's still workable, so I can cut it, no problem. But I did this yesterday, so as you can see, it's more stable than just doing it right away. So let's get to the cutting part. Okay, let's start with this one. Where's our, here it is. So this is the pattern that we're gonna use to cut our flower. You could just, like, I like, by the way, to cut up my modeling chocolate, I like to use a scalpel instead of the X-Acto knife. That's why I always say, like, I missed the two names when I'm talking. But the scalpel is thinner and you can cut better, so you don't drag too much your modeling chocolate. So I like this better to cut my, well, even my fondant or anything like that, I prefer my scalpel. And you could get them, they're disposable, and you can get them at Amazon for very cheap, they're not that expensive. Okay, so what I was gonna say is I could just hold down my pattern and cut around it, right? But because it's modeling chocolate and it's it's very, it doesn't like heat very much. So what I do to avoid holding the Meringue chocolate too much is that I cover my piece with a thin layer of shortening, right? This will work as kind of a glue for my pattern. It will help me hold it down while I cut around it. That way I don't have to put my fingers on top, and then I will transfer the heat of my hand to my piece, and then it will like get all mushy. So what I do is the same thing as the paper. I prefer to move the piece around and not move my hand too much. That way I'll have more control. See what I mean? The scalpel, it's very useful for cutting these pieces. Okay, so now I remove my pattern, and voila, I have my base. If you have any edges, weird edges, just rub it with your finger. See if something like that sticking out, just cut it and make it beautiful. Let's do, because we're gonna do both sides of the flower, we're gonna cut another one the same way, shortening to stick your pattern. That's another, the plastic that I talked before, that I said before about covering your patterns with the plastic, the packaging tape. It's good for this because once you put the shortening in, the paper will absorb it. And if you store it, then the paper is full of shortening. And then when you store it, the shortening will go bad, and it won't be good to reuse it, because you will have you won't be using gone bad shortening on your cake, right? So that's why I say that if you want to keep it, then you cover it in plastic. That way once you put the shortening, it won't affect, or it won't get to the paper, and you can save it for longer. Okay, we have our two pieces, and what I do is, again, my cutting board, I have a yellow one here, and I put my cut pieces on top, and I try not to move them too much so they don't lose their shape. And let's put this aside. Okay, so now we're gonna go with our thinner pieces, our orange. Okay, for this piece, even though I have a hole in the middle, I'm not going to cut that hole, because I don't wanna, if I do that, then I will have like a ring, and it's easier for it to misshape. So I prefer to leave it whole, I mean, not taking out the hole from the piece, so that way you won't lose its shape too easy. At the end, I'm just gonna put one on top of the other to make our cute little flower. Who doesn't like Mario, right? Okay, see, then I remove my pattern, and again, let's do the other very quickly. See, with the shortening, the pattern will move, it doesn't go anywhere. Just make sure you put enough, because sometimes if you don't put enough, it will get loose. it will move. And then you will have to start over, or just put the pattern again on the same place. Make sure you don't misshape your piece of modeling chocolate. Okay. Perfect. Let's put this with the burgundy one. Put this here. And now we're gonna cut that yellow. Here it is. Our little face. Let's put the shortening. And here you will see what I mean when I made the little cuts around the eyes as our guide. When I remove the pattern, we will be able to see little, like, very little lines, or very, yeah, like small lines around the eyes that will help us place the eyes once we're done with the flower. Okay, this is kind of repetitive, but it's worth it. Okay, so here's our little, just going through the little holes that we made before, my scalpel. Then when I remove the pattern, see, I have those there. I should probably make one on top, so I have like a guide. Maybe just like that, so I know where my eyes will go, so they will go right there. Let's do the other one. You move fast when once you get the hang of it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we still need to cut our green parts, our leaves, our stem, our green base, and the red part of our flower. Just make the little, okay, so we have another face for our flower. Just rub our finger around it if you have like rough edges. I think we're good. Okay, so let's go to the red. Where's the red one? Here's our red modeling chocolate. Same thing. Our shortening, let's put all the way. We're gonna use this red later for our letters. So I need to leave a piece untouched. Okay. Now see what I mean? I didn't put enough here, and so the paper is going up. I need to put enough shortening so my pattern doesn't move. Okay, good. Let's do here. Okay. Sometimes it moves, so you just have to reposition it, but it's not that bad. See what I mean? When you have like a soft piece of modeling chocolate and you're cutting, sometimes your pieces will misshape easier when you move them around. But see, this is modeling chocolate, and it's not hard. It's not like you rolled out a piece of gum paste and you left it outside and it will harden like a rock. You can still move this. And I rolled this out yesterday, but it's still flexible and I can still cut it. And I can do thin pieces like that sometimes I do that. And if I'm gonna put it right on top of the cake, I just roll them out very thin. Like, I won't go less than 1/16 of an inch, because, well, you could, but then it will be harder to move, or only if it's a really, really small piece. You can go thinner than that. Okay, let me go the other way. For me, it's easier since I'm right-handed. So keep moving your piece, not your hand, just that way you will keep like doing the same movement one again and again, and it's easier to control. Oopsie, I almost cut my pattern there. Okay. Okay, so let's save this piece for our letters later. And, okay, very good. Let's do something. Okay, now, let's cut our green base. Here's our pattern. I'm gonna make 2. It's a little bit, well, not that it's really, really hard, but it's because I have like all the little bit more curves than a simple oval. And by the way, you could use a cutter, like an oval cutter, to make your flower. But I want it to be like the more like replicated exactly how it was, and I couldn't find the exact same size and shape for all the ovals that I was going to need. So that's what I decided to go with the 2D topper technique. You cut layers of color and then put them all together like a puzzle. Okay, let's go very carefully. Try not to, because this piece of modeling chocolate, it's thicker. Because like I said, the burgundy, and the dark green are 1/8 of an inch thick. See? So it's a little bit harder to cut, but not impossible. Okay, let's put this here and keep going. This technique is perfect to any figure, like 2D figure. If it has an outline or something like that, it's very easier to replicate. And what I do if I need to make if I want to make let's see, any character, a 3D character of a movie, but I wanted to do it 2D. I don't want to like make the whole thing like do it in 3D, but I wanted to do more like a 2D topper. I will look for a clip art image. Or like a coloring book, and that way you will have your image or your character, let's say, I don't know, Mickey Mouse, for example. Then you will have the outline and the colors inside it. So you will have like the black base and cut all the little pieces, the colored pieces, and then put them all on top of the black. And like I made the Mario topper for this same cake. Maybe I can show you later. Okay. So I have my base of my flower ready. I'm just missing my leaves. I'm gonna cut 4 of them. 2 right side and 2 backwards or downside, let's see. Right side up and downside up. And upside down, I mean. Okay, let's do the same here. Probably already bored of all my cutting, but well, you will see the result. Okay, let me show you how I cut one little leaf. And then I just flip it around and cut the other one. Okay, now I have my 2 leaves for my flower. Let's put them here. See, I have some rough edges, so I just rub them off. This aside. Let's do the same with the other one. The other 2. Okay. This done. Well. Okay, we're almost done here. And then we'll assemble all our cute little flower. Okay, I have my 4 leaves. Let's cut this off. We're gonna be needing that green for our letters too, so just save that part for later. Okay, perfect. I put the leaves there. Put the rest of the parts. Okay, so for the eyes, I already cut them, so you don't have to see me cut another 100 of number 134 ovals. So here are our little eyes. So let's go to the fun part. Let's assemble our flower. Okay, so let's start with the, let's call it the head or the petals of the flower. I like to stick my pieces with shortening again, because it allows me to move them if I don't put them in the right place and they don't leave a mark. Like, for say, if you put black on white and you have water, then if you move the black, you will leave a mark, a black mark on it. But that doesn't happen with the white. I'm sorry, with the shortening. So, okay, let's see, here we have our model. This is what we're going for. So let's put the red first. Now we're gonna go and put the orange. Try to center it as much as we can. Okay, now the yellow. This is kind of, let's fix the edges first before placing it, putting it down. A little bit more shortening. And there it is. So don't move, don't go anywhere. Okay. And now let's try to put our little eyes very carefully. Just a little bit more shortening there. and grab my eyes, the eyes of my flower. And believe it or not, they make all the difference. They give like the character. Okay, let's put them where they should be. Oops, don't move anywhere. Okay, there you go. Perfect. That's the top part. Now let's do the bottom part. The green. Well, maybe this is too much shortening. You can also put the shortening on the pieces that you're going to stuck instead of the base. But well, I did it this way, so it's easier for me. Let's put the other leaf here. And where is my stem? Oh, see? I forgot to cut my stems. Well, let's do it right now, since I forgot. Okay. Let's cut our little stem. More shortening. It's moving around, so it's not cooperating. Let's cut here and go around it. So I already have, let's see, this one. Okay, and let's just, okay, perfect. Let's see. There we have it, our flower. Let's make the other one and assemble our flower really quickly. Once you have all the pieces, it's very, you can assemble it really fast. This is something that you can do in advance and have all your pieces on one side, like waiting for you. If you don't have time to make your piece, you guys put them. Okay, let's put this closer. Let's get this closer to me and let's repeat. Shortening. Let's put our red first, then our orange. And I don't know if you can see, but can you see that there's like the remaining shortening from the hole that we didn't cut before? So it's perfect, but because that's exactly where our yellow piece will go. And also we already have the shortening that we need to glue our piece together. Okay, perfect. Let's put our eyes. Let's see if these eyes are, see, I have like a little bit of dirt here. Okay, it was like a piece of paper, I don't know, but it's already gone. Okay, now let's do the other eye. Very good. Another face. Perfect. And our stem and leaves. Is it a stem? Yes. Well, you know what I mean. Okay, let's remove the paper. See, it's about the same color, so I almost leave it. You will see. Sometimes when I'm making like small pieces and I don't want them to lose their shape when I'm handling them because they're too small and they could get hot very easily and then start to melt, I leave the paper on them. That way it'll help them keep their shape better. You'll see what I mean when we make the letters later. Okay. Yay, we have our flower. Okay, so now let's go to the final part of our topper project. You could use like edible glue or something, but I just use water and it works. And this is a water pen, like the ones you got on your beautiful goodie bag full of goodies. So I put a generous amount of water, not too much, but enough to make it tacky, to make my piece tacky. So I just rub it with my finger, make sure it's getting tacky. It's like melting, the water is kind of melting the Maloin chocolate a bit, so it gets, so it can stick to our piece. So let's center it in our cardboard. Make sure you still have some edges outside of the cardboard. Perfect. Let's go with our green piece now. Enough water. Rub it. Let's rub. And stick it. Beautiful. Okay, let's see if I can move it. Oh no. Let's leave it like that. Oh. Okay. Now, you're gonna be careful, because if you flip it and put it on your work surface, on your table, then you will smoosh our little eyes. So let's put the water first, and then we will hold it in our hand. Let's flip this part here and do the same with the water. Rub. Let's put enough water and rub it so it gets sticky, because sometimes, see, I still have some cornstarch there, so I have to get rid of that, because if I don't, it's not gonna stick. Here, carefully flip your topper, and there we go. Let's put the bottom part. So make sure you align the front and the back. And don't worry, we can finish that part on our dummy. Okay, so now we need to put this on our styrofoam. But if I do this, you won't see anything. Well, let me try if I can flip it. Oh, wow, it's going on. Let's see what's going on here. Our skewers. I need to make a hole. This is too hard. Our flowers, so these skewers went all the way up. So let's make a hole first, because our cake is not going to be as don't worry if it's falling. We'll put more water. And we'll get there. We'll get it there. Okay, perfect. Okay, now that we have it there, we can see it's falling apart. At least it didn't get smushed. I didn't put enough water. Okay, don't worry. We can fix that. Okay. So let's make sure this part is stuck. And let's repeat. Oh, no, let me clean this first. Okay, let's gravity help us here. Okay. Centered, push it, make it stick. And let's do the same here. Okay. With it. Okay, so the final step for our flower is to close this gap. So very, very carefully and trying to, now we do need this to get warm, the modeling chocolate. So we're gonna rub our fingers and close our gap little by little. So that way we hide our cardboard and no one will be the wiser. No one will know. Let's do the same here with our leaves. Put them together. Oops. Okay. Okay. Let's keep going. Well, you can keep going as much as you like until you close that gap. And you can't see anymore. See what happened here? It was too hard and then it ripped. But don't worry, it's modeling chocolate. So we can just rub that off and you won't see anything there. And if you need, you can put some shortening and rub that off. And the crack will disappear. Okay, and we're done. Cute little flower topper. You can keep on going and trying to get all the things out of the way, but I think we're good enough for a demo. Flower is done. Now we're gonna go ahead and clean this up so we can start working on our letters. Take everything out of the way and bring our things closer to work on our letters. Okay, for our letters, we're gonna make when you want to make like a special letter, a specific type of font for a movie, like, or a cartoon, or in this case a game, I normally use this website. It's called fontspace.com. Like you can read here, like you can see, it says I have 71,000 or plus free fonts, so you can find almost anything under the sun. So we're gonna go and search for Super Mario, and I already put the name that I wanted for my cake. In this case is Samuel 9 up, because my son was turning 9. But you can, as you can see, we can put Samuel Salazar for example, and then you will have a preview, and that preview is what we are going to be using. You could download the whole font file and save it on your computer, but because I'm using my iPad, and normally I just do what I'm going to show you. So let's see, 9. Where's 9 up? Perfect. So there's like, you put Super Mario and then have like different type of fonts related to the same theme. Then you can find the one that you like most, and for our case we're going to be using this one. let's remove the space here. I think we have two. No, yes, we have two. We don't need to have a space in between our letters. What I do here is that I just zoom in and then I print my screen and save. I just trim it and then save it to my photos. Save to photos. What I do next is I would open Pages. I already have it here, and then I will add from photo or video, recent, and then here it is. It should be here. Yes, there it is. So my next step is determine the size that I want. And how am I going to do that? I just click on my image here, double click, and then I will crop it. Just touching the edges of my letters. For now, I won't worry about the P. We'll do that later. So let's say we want to make it 1 inch tall. Right now, as you can see, well, actually this is already 1 inch. The height is 1 inch. So let's copy these and let's say paste. And sometimes when you say, well, I want to do my letters 1 inch, but then you have it printed out and you said, I would have thought probably I want to make it smaller or larger. What I do is I print them in 3 different sizes. And then when I have them in front of me, I will choose which one I like best for the project that I'm working on. So like this one is 1 inch, right? And then I'm gonna make it larger by just moving this corner here. And you can see the numbers are changing here. And it's, let's say, 1 inch 35. If I just grab the blue dot, it would tell me that is, let's see, yeah, 11 inches, 0.25 or width, and 135 inches on height. Okay, then I will just recrop it so I can have my P again complete. Oh, I'm sorry. There, I have all my letters complete in the size that I wanted. And because I don't want to lose or waste ink, what I do is I edit and lower the opacity so it's light gray. So when I print it, where the printer does its job, it doesn't waste any ink. Okay, so once you have it here, you just go ahead, print it in regular paper, and that's the part that I'm going to show you now. See, here I have 3 different sizes. This is a bigger one. I think this is about, let's say, 1.5 inch tall, at least the S. And this here is 1 inch. So I'm gonna use this one today. Like we did on the, before I start cutting and all that, I'm just gonna say that the same way we did with the Mario, you can do with Minecraft or any other type of font that you want. Mario, Frozen, Star Wars, you name it. There's a million possibilities. So you can personalize the project that you want with the type of letter that you have, instead of using the same cookie cutters to make your letters. If you want to make it extra special, that's how you can do it. So now what I'm gonna do is cut every single letter using the X-Acto knife. I'm just gonna show you, let's say the A, because it has like a little insert that is kind of a little bit harder to cut. So the same way that I did with a flower, I just move around my piece. And instead of moving my hand, and I will cut my letter as close to the edge as possible. And I'm gonna cut the here. Okay, good. Okay. Ah, it's not going. Maybe I should have just cut a little bit more. Okay, let's finish our letter. Perfect. Let's go down here. Sometimes you miss a spot when you try to take it off, then you realize that there's some part that you didn't cut. See? Now we have a beautiful A, a perfect A for our project. Since I'm not gonna waste your time doing this over and over again, like I did before, here are my letters that I already cut. So I have there's a U, and another A, and my E, and my S. Where's my, okay, let's see if I have them all here. Samuel. So the L is like thinner on the bottom, so let's make sure we remember that. So I have 9 and up. Ooh, don't go anywhere. 9 up, perfect. So we have our letters. So now let's talk about colors, because Mario, like the Mario logo or letters, they're always like in the primary colors plus green. So I used like I use this sketchbook in my iPad to put some colors on my letters. Here I have the original Mario. Let me show you this way. See that I have like blue, yellow, red, green, and that's how it goes. So what I did is let me turn this off again. I did the same with the letter Samuel, 9 up. So we're gonna replicate this pattern. So we're gonna have our S, our last L, and a U in blue, and then the other colors. Okay. And when I did this, I used the uppercase. You can see the M, everything is uppercase, but when I redo it, I decided to go with lowercase. It looked like cuter, I don't know. I like it better. So, okay, let's keep going. So I'm gonna show you how to cut. Let's see, the M and the P in a red. Yes, because the other letters I already cut them. So that way we can move faster. And you can see just how I cut a few letters. Because it's the same process. My modeling chocolate, some shortening, stick my patterns. Perfect. And now we cut with our handy dandy scalpel. That sounds like Blue's Clues. I watch that all the time with my kids. Such a happy show. Okay, let's cut here. Very careful cutting the inner part of the P so you don't cut your pattern or misshape your see. Okay, I think I'm gonna need a little bit more. Well, I'll put it later because I don't want to remove the paper completely once I cut my letter, so you can keep its shape as best as possible. Okay, so now that I cut it, see, a perfect P, I'm gonna put some shortening, a little bit more, and glue my, ideally I didn't have to do this step, but since it got unstuck. I like to, okay, so I like to keep my paper, like I said before, because that way I can handle it and it won't lose its shape as easily because they're smaller parts. So I can put it aside and now work with the M. Oh, I have the same problem here with the M. Let me put more shortening. Sometimes the paper will suck out all the shortening and then it will unstuck. So make sure you put enough so you don't have to do what I just did. Carefully cut around your pattern. Okay, perfect. Let's do the same here. Good. See? The same way, I'm moving my modeling chocolate instead of my hand so I don't lose precision in my cuts. Okay, let's make sure I cut everywhere. Okay, let's remove RM from our modeling chocolate. I think this is, make all the adjustments that you need. Oh, what happened here? Why are you stuck? Maybe you need a little help. Okay, perfect. Now we have a P and our M. Let me clean this up a little bit so we can start assembling our letters. Let me put this here and I will get my other letters. Okay. Here are the rest of our letters already cut in their specific color. Let's put our P and our M here. And let's grab our base. The base for our letters, it's a black base in this case to make the outline for our letters, and it's 1/8 of an inch thick. That way we can make our plaque and move it with no problem or worrying about ripping or falling apart. And you can put it on the side of the cake, on the board, or you can also, if you would like, you can make it thicker or put a cardboard like we did for the flower and put it standing up on your cake, like I have done several times before. Okay, let's grab again our trusty shortening. We're gonna have to place our letters and move them around. So this will help us do that. Okay, let's start with our, let's see. I don't put the, yes, the S. Let's see, I have some little piece here. Let's take that out first before putting it down. And my S is, yes, I see I had it backwards. Okay, let's put our S, then our A, very close together, because we're trying to mimic Mario's or Super Mario's letters. Samuel, M, fairly close. Let me double check that we're going. Next is the green U, because I have a blue and a green one, so I know that I'm going to go with the green one here. Then my E, my yellow E, and lastly my L. And I can remember the thinner part goes down. Okay, perfect. So I have Samuel. Now let's put under the 9 up. And I like to put it like closer, kind of in the middle of all the letters, and my P, 9 up. Okay, now we're gonna cut around our letters very carefully, leaving about, I think it's about in between 1/16 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch, depending on what you're looking for your design. It's hard to see because it's black, right? You gotta do it carefully, moving around your modeling chocolate piece. Let's make a cut here, and then let's do a horizontal one here. Okay, perfect. Let's try to do this here, and we're just going to like follow cutting around the letters. That's all we're doing. Try to cut all the way through. That way when we finish and remove the excess, it will come apart. It will come off easily. Okay, so I'm trying to make like big cuts. That way we're making sure we're cutting all the way through. Here I can go almost horizontal. Then I'm going to go up like that. Make this little tiny cut for the M. Oh, let's put it like this. That's very subtle. Probably won't show, but that's fine. Let's go with the A. Let's go all the way to the S and cut here. Let's go around the S. Always moving the piece and not your hand. That way you have. Okay, perfect. We're almost done here. Let's go. Where's my line? I'm having a hard time seeing here. Okay. Okay, perfect. Now, the tricky part. Let's remove, well, not yet. No, I'm not gonna take the papers. Not yet, see? I just cut all the way there. Let's cut here. What is going on there? I don't know what's going on with the light. Okay, let's remove all this. Ta-da! Okay, let's see. Now let's remove our papers to reveal the magic. That's the... I really like this part, when you take off the paper and you can see your letters behind it. Okay, and we're done. I don't know what's going on with that light. Perfect. Here's our sign. Okay. So that's it, guys. Well, guys, and that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something new. And remember that you have your handout where you have a list of the materials that we used today, and also the way to contact me if you have any question or any concern, or just you want to say hi. You will find my email there. And so keep enjoying your day. There's more demos to come, So don't go anywhere. Thank you again. Bye.